Hello everyone and welcome to the post-production survey with Big Top Entertainment. It was such a pleasure to meet so many of you guys at the Heart of Texas Fair and Rodeo. Several of you were new first-time exhibitors with us, which is always fun and challenging for both parties. We have been lucky enough for 6 years in the Houston market to put together about 12 to 20 events a year, and we have a great strong exhibitor following, and everybody knows each other, knows how to work with each other, knows everybody's quirks or exceptions that they need in this and that. So I look forward to continuing our relationship, working with the Heart of Texas Fair and Rodeo in 2022 to get to know you guys better, get to work with you more, and get to do more events with you. So a few things, you received an email with this video link as well as a post-production survey. If you would, please take that survey. It's highly valuable. I do read all of the survey results, and that is a big decider in changes that are made, whether it be to floor plan, process, procedure, move-in, whatever the case may be. So we have questions in there, especially related to your sales. If you would share that information, it is helpful. Of course, you can skip those questions if you do not feel comfortable, but I know I had several conversations with many exhibitors about sales numbers and what we look for. So we look for 10 times your booth fee in sales. So if you had a 10 by 10 at Hot, that was 700. We wanted you to do 7,000 in sales would be the sales goal. Now, of course, you're always going to have people who do much more than that and people who do much less than that. But it helps if everybody participates in the survey to see what our average is across the board. So I have a few topics here that I would like to discuss. I'll kind of run through them real quick and then we'll continue with the video. I hope that you do stick around to the end, and I will be releasing the 2022 dates for the rodeo. So we have display we're going to talk about. I had a lot of one-on-one conversations about display at the rodeo. We're also going to talk about sales goals, another topic that I discussed with many people at the rodeo. And we're going to start to break down how you can create sales goals for yourself that are not just for our events, but for all events, and help you reach your financial goals for the end of the year. I do want to talk about attitude and stress at events and sizing upgrades that came up often at the event, early breakdown and the market schedule, being open during market hours, breakdown process. I have a few apologies to make there. And then of course, we're going to end with the hot 2022 dates. So let's talk about display. Display is so critical in this business, and I'm not just talking about for the Heart of Texas Fair and Rodeo. I'm talking about for every event. If you want to sell at events, whether it be a craft show, an expo, a rodeo, wherever you go. I even chalk it up to it's 50% of the sale. So think about what your average sales are at all of your events that you do. What's the average dollar amount that you're happy with, and now double it. That's how much you could be making if you had a great display. We had several great displays there. I know Salt Creek Market, I took several people by their booth. The agency for the disabled, and I'm sorry, I know I'm totally jacking up the name, but the agency for the retired and disabled, I believe, you know, they just had some really great little pocket backdrops, which I took a lot of people by to see those. The broken cinch, I mean, it was beautiful, it was well put together. You look at it, you know exactly what she's selling, exactly what she's doing. I like she uses grid wall, and she put the black drapes behind her grid wall, which just made it look that much better, that much more professional. I'm not going to hit everybody. These are just a few that come to mind. Of course, the Turquoise Buffalo and Company with the sheet metal background. I mean, that's very cute and that's very brand specific. So if you do a lot of these events, you will have customers who recognize you and come back again and again and again to shop with you, because if they bought one thing from you and they're satisfied, they will want to buy more and more from you. And so I just love how unique hers is. It's very identifiable and it looks really great. Let's see who else on display. I don't have a list in front of me, so this is just kind of going off of top of mind. Of course, Roman Valley Ranch, I mean, with the hats hanging up, the whole Western store, the full walls and everything, I mean, that's a labor of love right there. But again, it's consistency, it's brand recognition. Now, anytime they go to the rodeo, everyone will remember if they bought a belt or a hat or a jacket or whatever the case from them, and they will go back because they had that great experience before. And as Roman Valley Ranch travels around Texas to other events, they will gain more and more brand recognition for their display. So those are a few of the top ones that are at the top of my mind. Of course, there were several others with beautiful displays, but I want, and this is actually going in the email, some of these links. I want to talk about a few things, and not all of them are relevant to the rodeo, but some are. So first on my list are tents. Tents indoor, they just don't look good. I don't care what you say. They do not look good. A lot of people say, well, I want to use my frame, you know, to hang lights and this and that. And I get it. I totally understand why you want to do that. But invest in some poles, invest in some backdrops with poles that you can use for your lighting, or even a few panels of grid wall that you can put behind your table. That will, one, help you display up, and also allow you to put your fixtures, your lights and whatnot on there. We're moving towards, we're going to not allow tents inside. I haven't made that an official decision yet, because I do try my best to work with everyone. I know everyone is at different points in their business. Some people are already invested in their display. Some people are ready to invest in their display. And some people are just getting started and they're investing more in inventory and things they need to get started. So I try to be mindful of that. But it really does make a huge difference, not only for just how the show looks overall, but for your sales. However, if you are going to have a tent, which you'll need if you do an outdoor market as well, I highly recommend bestofsigns.com. Their tent quality is very great, very affordable, fast shipping, but you can also customize them. So if you saw the tent like Pickle Smash, the green tent that was moved up to the front, that's a custom branded tent, and it looks really great. It's very professional. You can be on brand. You can have your branding colors, your logo, whatever style and design that you want. And bestofsigns.com has several different options. You can just get the tent cover. You can get the tent and the cover. You can get sidewalls, half walls, backdrops, so many different options. They have so many different packages, and I've ordered several different things from them, and I've always been very satisfied with the quality. And they constantly have coupons and discount codes going out via email, so you can sign up for their email list and you'll probably get a discount the same day, if not within a few days, 20 to 25% off your purchase. Banners and signs, another huge thing. Guys, let's be real. I want you to actually look at your products, look at your display, look at what you take with you to all the shows, and be honest with yourself and critique yourself. Am I bringing my best? Is this what's going to set me apart from the crowd? Is this what's going to catch someone's eye when they're walking by? Because you have seconds to get someone's attention. Now, yes, you have your professional shoppers. They hit every single booth. They're not going to miss a beat. They do it very organized, up and down every aisle. And that's great. That's who we want to come out and shop. But you also have the casual shoppers who are chit-chatting, who are talking, who are with their friends, who are on their phone. They're there for a different reason, right? And you need them to see something out of the corner of their eye and grab their attention so that they look. Once they look, they'll either be interested and come over or not, or you as the salesperson have the opportunity, hey, hi, how's it going? Spark the conversation, invite them to your booth. Have you ever seen this? Have you ever tried this? Have you ever done whatever it is that you sell, right? Selling is not just sitting in your booth and I've set up, so I'm going to wait for my customers to come. That is not how this business works, of working at a trade show, at an expo, at a craft fair. Yes. Can you do that and make money? Absolutely. But again, could you double your sales if you were very interactive and engaging with the shopper? Absolutely. So banners and signs. I see banners out there that are 4 feet wide, 2 feet high. They've clearly been around for 2 or 3 years. They've been all crinkled up, wrinkled up, they don't look good. They're, you know, bad colors, they're black and white, they're faded, whatever the case may be. Oh, well, I have my backdrop, and you have it bungeed with the cheapest bungees you could find at Home Depot. So you got a yellow one over here, a green, a red, and a black, and you bungeed it to your pop-up tent probably, and it's not attractive. Banners need to be at least as wide as your booth. So that's 10 feet if you're 10 by 10, 20 feet if you're 10 by 20, so on and so forth. So you should be able to get a banner at least 10 feet wide. I recommend at least 8 feet in height. That's about where most pop-up tents, that's about how tall they are, to give you reference. But of course I prefer bigger is better, so I like the 10 foot tall. So if I'm in a 10 by 10 booth, I'm gonna have a 10 by 10 backdrop, and the backdrops makes all the difference. But keep in mind materials. So if you get a vinyl, so that's most of your banners are gonna be a vinyl material, they just don't last very long, and that's just the matter of the fact. They are fairly inexpensive, so you should be able to replace them. But as you roll them and unroll them and take them show after show, and they get, you know, smashed in the vehicle and whatnot, they crinkle and they tend to crack, and they just don't look as good. So just know that a vinyl banner is a little bit cheaper. They can be a little bit easier to hang up because, again, you can use bungees. I recommend all black or all white bungees. And even zip ties we've used before for banners, and that works. However, what I like are what's called the pillows, which it comes with a metal stand, and it's a fabric material that never wrinkles. So you wad it up in a ball and you shove it into a tote and you throw it in the back of the trailer, and a year later you come back out, it's perfect. You just put it over the stand and it stretches out. It's like a very nice stretch material, and you have that. That's what I highly recommend. You can also get those at bestofsigns.com. You can custom design them, put your logo, put graphics. I even say you can do a solid color. I mean, if you're not sure, or you sell different products and brands, or you're trying a new product line and you don't know if you're going to be selling splat balls next year, you might be selling water bottles next year, then just do a solid color. And I don't really recommend black, because black is just black. It's just a void. It does not catch your eye. Pick a brand, start building your branding. Are you pink? Are you red? Are you yellow? Are you orange? Are you green? Whatever your color may be. Like Big Top, we have a lot of colors. Our logo, just in our logo, it's like over 80 different colors. However, and I'll show you guys what I have here. We've pulled 5 colors out of the logo, and those are our primary brand colors. So for example, right here, these are our primary brand colors. We have hot pink, like a fuchsia purple, and orange, a very deep purple, and a yellow. And then I have, these are the actual color codes. So if I order something, I'm gonna get it in the exact pink, and everything is going to have the exact pink color. And we actually have a ton of colors that we use in-house for different things, like for our maps and different stuff like that. So I know a lot of people are like, Melissa, I'm not a marketer, I'm not a graphic designer, I don't even know where to start. I really don't mind to help out and point you in the right direction, as long as you have that desire to learn and to grow, which means you're going to be doing this on your own. I'm going to be pointing you in the right direction, saying you can use this website to help you out. You can use this graphic design service to help you out. These are ways to kind of get around and cheat the system. You can buy clip art, you can buy fonts, all these things, but you will have to ultimately do the work. All right, so I'm going to try to power through this so we don't have a 2-hour-long video here. So backdrops, that kind of goes with banners and signs. Bestofsigns.com, I highly recommend. You can also find some generic things on Amazon. I will say banners, tents, signs, backdrops, all of those things, you do get what you pay for. So if you go for the $29.99 one on Amazon, it's going to be difficult to set up. It's going to break. It's not going to be heavy, so it's not going to be stable. You know, so it's kind of like, where are you in your business? Maybe that's all you can do is the $29 one right now. So I recommend that you go ahead and do that. Just know it's going to be a little bit more frustrating than if you do like the $200 or $300 one, which is weighted, higher quality. It's not going to fall down. It's going to be built for commercial use. So it's easy up, easy down, easy transport. You get my gist. Power and electricity. So for next year hot, everyone will have power included in their booth. It's just way easier. But I have on this exhibitor toolkit here, If you go to my blog, which is bigtop.show/blog/electricity, will take you directly to the blog post where I have several power boxes. I highly recommend those for other events, especially if you're coming to do our shopping festivals, the outdoor shopping festivals. It's just, I always like to tell exhibitors, be independent, be power independent, be internet independent. Don't rely on the promoter, myself and everybody else who's a promoter out there, because some venues have challenges and you just can't run utilities and electricity to everyone. So there are some portable power boxes. You charge them at home, you bring them with you, they'll last the whole weekend. That way you can plug in your cash register, your phone, your whatever it is that you have, your lights. Also, reliable Wi-Fi is always a challenge at any venue. Working with the Rodeo and Grande, who's the Wi-Fi provider, to see what we can do for next year, because that was an issue for many people. But I have, it's called a Moxie. It's a little wireless hotspot, and I bought mine from Walmart. It's a prepaid card, so whenever I need data, I just buy the little card online, put it in there, and I've had very reliable Wi-Fi. Even when we're on road trips in rural Texas, I'll still be using my laptop in the truck with the Wi-Fi. So highly recommended, very inexpensive. I think I paid around $50 or $60 for the Wi-Fi box itself, the little paddle. And then, you buy your data, so it's like $20, $40 at a time, depending on how much you need. Also, something I highly recommend, sorry, I just want to see myself here, so what's going on? Fire safety. So I highly recommend every exhibitor have a kitchen fire extinguisher. It does need to be ABC rated. They're like $15. I have a link to one in the email. But I just recommend everyone always have a fire extinguisher all the time. It's just for safety reasons, of course. But you just never ever know. And actually, when I got home from the rodeo, my brother's house just burned down to the ground. So he is homeless right now with his children. And, it's kind of like you'll never need it until you do. And then when you do, you really wish you had it. So we started implementing that this past spring for our outdoor festivals to be required. But again, we just highly recommend that everyone has a small fire extinguisher just in case. And then bugs and pests, we didn't really have this issue at all at Heart of Texas, but I always recommend have with you sunblock, have with you chapstick, mosquito spray, and ant killer, especially if you're at an outdoor venue. Anywhere you go, you should have those. Alrighty, so those are some of my display tips and what I call the exhibitor toolkit. Now let's talk about sales and Monday, honey. So I had some great conversations with a lot of exhibitors about what they want to do with their business, where they want to grow their business, where their business is at. And I kind of classify everyone into 3 different groups, right? So you're either in the, I don't really know why I'm doing this business. I don't really know how much money I want to make. I don't really know if this is even the product that I want to sell. I'm just kind of starting out and figuring it out as I go. And that's perfectly fine. And more power to you, honey. You'll figure it out eventually. I was an exhibitor before I was a promoter. I sold for about 10 years at events, and I literally sold everything under the sun. So I was not building a brand. I was just there to hustle to make money, really. I sold skincare, I sold clothing, I sold jewelry, I sold, I don't even know, kids' toys, phone cases. I mean, honestly, whatever was selling at the moment is what I was selling. And I don't necessarily think that's the best way to go. That's just who I was. And then you have your middle of the road who they really know where they want to be. They're just not really sure on the business side how much they are making at the end of the day, how much they should be making, how much they should be spending on events, on inventory, things like that. And then you have your true professionals who are trying to really build a brand, build a business that can sustain them. They have, in the future, they'd like to have employees running these booths for them, maybe doing multiple events on the same weekend and kind of being the manager who oversees those. And that's great as well. So I'm going to talk really about the middle of the road person right now, because I feel like that is the most type of person that we had at Hot who was receptive to mentoring, coaching, and advice, and had really good open conversations with me about where they want to be as a business. And that person is more than likely looking to make about $50,000 in profit a year. So it's like pretty much replacing someone's annual income. It's not being a top achiever, a top sales achiever. It's just like, I want a steady income that I can depend on, doing something that I love, having fun, traveling with my family or with my husband or my wife, and really just not having to go to the 40-hour-a-week job and doing this full time. And that's a great place to be. So if you think about it, if you want to profit $50,000 in the whole year, right? So you have 12 months to make enough money to profit $50,000. So the profit is after your inventory expense, your cost of goods sold, your marketing expense, and any overhead that you have. So what you would really need to do there is about $150,000 in sales. And I always multiply by 3. So that's where I usually start if I want to make a goal on profit. If I want to make a goal on profit of 50,000, I'm going to triple that number and make it 150,000. Because if you just double it, usually that extra 50%, right? So if we started with 50,000 and now we double it to 100,000, that 50,000 is just going to be inventory cost most of the time, unless you have a very high profit margin item. But for most of you who are selling like clothes and shoes, it's very hard to cut that margin less than 50%. So that leaves us no money for advertising, booking events, travel expense, any of that. So that's why I triple it. So if you want to profit 50,000, our sales goal is then going to be 150,000. So if we break that down per month, right? So if you just have a consistent year and you're not banking on the holiday season, you're not thinking about the slow season, you're just trying to be consistent every single month, we have a sales goal of $12,500, which I know to a lot of people is like, oh my God, I will never get there. But you can, you really can. And I have several exhibitors who do that in one weekend. Okay, they can clear that in one weekend. But they've invested in the display and they've invested in the inventory and they have the personal connection with the customers to be able to sell. And so if we break that down even further, $12,500 a month, that's $3,125 a week, which I'm telling you is completely possible. And I'm not even talking about online sales or reorders. I'm just talking about at markets. So if you are in this group and you want to make $50,000 in profit a year, and you're just like, I'm not sure I can even sell $3,125 a week, then please reach out to me because I would love to help you make that goal. And it's going to start first with your display. It's also going to start with your product and what type of product do you have and how much inventory you have and how much diversity do you have, because that's another thing. You can be very successful selling one product. I know an exhibitor, all they sell is licorice. Now they have several flavors of licorice, but that's all they sell is licorice, and they do very, very, very well. Peanut brittle is another one that I've seen people who sell peanut brittle do very, very well. Pickle smash is another great one. They only sell pickle salsa and they have pickle juice. That's all they sell. They do very well. If you have a niche product, that'll work. But if you're selling something generic like children's clothing, boutique clothing, accessories, skincare, even candles, it can be very, very difficult to do it with one product. So we'll talk about product mix, diversity of price point, and diversity of your product mix, right? Because I had a conversation with several of you of, let's say that you sell dresses, right? And you sell dresses, they're kind of geared more toward teenagers. So you have daughter in your booth shopping for dresses because she wants to buy one of these teenager dresses. Well, who's there with her? It's probably mom, right? Well, mom has nothing to do. Mom is over here twiddling her thumbs, waiting for daughter to finish so that they can check out and leave. But if you were to add some products to your mix for your secondary market, that would be mom. Now, mom might find a purse or a tumbler or a bracelet or something that she likes that occupies her time while daughter is shopping, and then they both check out. So there's ways to put secondary and even third tier, target markets, demographics, whatever you want to call them, into your display and into your product mix so you can have a broader vision of your sales. All right, so I'm gonna move on from sales goals, but thank you for letting me get on my soapbox, because there's nothing that I love more in this world than talking about sales and marketing, and that is the honest truth. Been in sales and marketing my whole life. I had my first company when I was 14, went around, sold myself, started a temporary labor company, and I had all the girls at school working for me, covering shift hours at retail stores. So it's a true passion of mine, absolutely love it, love talking about it, could go on and on for hours. All right, so now let's get down into maybe what you would consider some of the bad news or some of the rules, which since I am a sales rep, I'm not much of a rule follower myself, but we all have to kind of work together in this thing to make it work for everyone. So I want to talk about moving booths and size upgrades, because this was something very unique for Heart of Texas, something that we've honestly never done anywhere else. It's very rare that on the spot during setup, we are moving booths around and redesigning the floor plan, let alone multiple times during the event. But as you guys know, the fair started out very slow in sales for everyone, and we want you to be successful. David and I want you to make money. We want you to make more than your sales goal, because then what will happen? Well, you're going to come back and do all of our events, right? And then it's a lot easier for us. We don't have to go out and find new exhibitors. We have a group of exhibitors who want to do business with us over and over again. So it's always in our best interest that everybody at the market is successful, and we try our best to make that happen. Of course, just like anything in life, you are going to have winners and you're going to have losers. And sometimes it's the same person, and sometimes it's just different products. This product sells really well at this event and it doesn't sell very well at this event for multiple reasons. So I just kind of want to put it out there. That is not something that happens rarely, ever, that we move booths around, completely redo the floor plan, or move in the middle of an event. Hopefully with the experience we had from this year and the changes that we want to make and the rodeo wants to make for next year, we will have a solid floor plan that is set and we're ready to rock and roll. We don't have to move. You also have to understand that David and I, we're like the conductors, right? The orchestra, whatever they're called at the front of the orchestra. We have to see the big picture of not just what's going on in our building, but what's going on in the rest of the rodeo, and traffic flow and security concerns and everything that's going on. So there's 2 of us and there's about 100 of you, and some of you guys have multiple, people working the booth, so there can easily be 200 exhibitors. And so yes, it is very exhausting for us to constantly be selling the idea of we want you to succeed and we're making these changes for your own benefit. Even if you were not the one who moved, we moved people specifically to draw attention. Just like I was saying, you have 1 second to get someone's attention out of the corner of their eye. They look at you and then that's your opportunity to pull them in, right? So we're doing the same thing, but on the bigger scale of people coming into the rodeo. What do they see out of the corner of their eye in the building? Will they come into the building, right? I know there were a couple concerns about size upgrades. So typically, and we're in the business of selling vendor space, right? So that's the only way that we make money. We don't sell products at the event. So if someone wants to upgrade from a 10 by 10 to a 10 by 20, then yes, we should charge for that 10 by 20. And that's only fair for everybody involved. That's only fair for us. That's only fair for you as another exhibitor. And it's really only fair for the person who's upgrading, that they pay for the space that they receive. Now, with this event, to be honest, everything was out the window, because from day one, it was kind of like a roof that was leaking during a hurricane. We had 2 exhibitors with large booths who had trailer accidents on their way to the event. So they never even showed up. We had exhibitors who were missing from even just set up before we even opened the doors. So we had to fill that space. And then of course, as you know, we pulled people up to the front. We had to fill that space. We had a lot of musical chairs going on. So I do want you to know that I hear your concerns for those of you who are like, well, it's not fair that I paid for, a 10 by 20 or a 10 by 30 or whatever. This person only paid for a 10 by 10. Now they got upgraded because their neighbor left or whatnot. I get it, but sometimes it's just how the cookie crumbles and we have to roll with it, because we are trying to make everybody successful, right? But I do want you to know, if you come around to our other events, that is like never happens. Very, very rare. It's kind of unique for this event. All right, so I want to talk about attitude is everything. Timing sometimes is also everything in life, unfortunately. That's just how this world works. And I want to talk about stress. So attitude is everything with Dave and I. We care less about how big your booth is and how much you spend with us as much as we care about attitude. My Leather Treasures is a great example. They have been with us for years. They go everywhere we go. They've been to every single one of our events. They've never missed one. And they honestly just have the best attitude. They are always on time. They never have issues. If there's a line, they wait in line. We've had an event where we had a medical emergency during breakdown. It took 45 minutes for the ambulance to actually arrive on site, and we had to shut the entire breakdown down. So not only for that 45 minutes just waiting on the ambulance, but also how long it took for the ambulance to do what they needed to do and take this person from critical condition to stable and then get them off site. And so that was probably like an hour and a half in total. And I don't remember if My Leather Treasures, they were probably already packed up and gone or if they were there, but that's my point. I didn't even know because they would just never complain about anything. They go with the flow and they're always positive and just happy to see us and happy to be there. So even though in the scheme of things, they're one of our smaller booth sizes, there is like no request that honestly I could foresee me saying no to from them if they ever had a special circumstance, because again, it's just like that attitude is everything. And I say that not just for our event, but for any event that you participate in. Promoters are people too. Vendors are people too. Customers are people too. And so everybody feeds off of everyone else's energy. So if you come in with a negative or an over-aggressive attitude, it doesn't help anybody. And how I look at it is every single person in that room, right? Every single exhibitor and every single promoter could be doing something else. They could have a career as a nurse, a lawyer, a marketer, a teacher, whatever. I'm sure you came from a career before you started being a vendor. They could be doing that. And more than likely they left that due to stress. They don't want to deal with the headaches. They didn't like their coworkers. They didn't like their boss. They didn't like the industry. They didn't like whatever it was. And they left that and they became an independent small business owner to get rid of the stress and get rid of the drama and live their life and love their life and love what they're doing. And so that's one thing that I am very big on. I will get on my soapbox on that one is attitude is everything. And sometimes you might not get exactly the upgrade, or you might not get the free spot, or you might not get the free space this time, but trust me that how you took that and how you worked through whatever obstacles. Each individual show always has its own set of obstacles. How you work through them, it resonates, and it resonates with your vendor neighbors, and it resonates with the promoters, and it resonates with the customers too. And so that's when the next time there is a special exception, is that special exception going to go to you or someone else? Is that free upgrade going to go to you or someone else? Well, you're a human just like everybody else, so think about it. Do you want to give it to the person who is always on time, is always patient, is always nice, is always kind, or the person who's constantly complaining, constantly causing drama, constantly, making issues where no issue exists? Anybody would choose the easier person to deal with. So just keep that in mind. Stress gets to everyone. This was a long show. Even though we all got our mornings off during the week, it was still pretty exhausting. So I know by the end we were all tired and dragging, but that's part of what we signed up for, right? So we go and we work really hard for 14 days. So that way we can have 14 days off or go on a vacation or get in our RV and hit the road and go somewhere new. So attitude is everything in life. Early breakdown and the market schedule. So we do have a list of people who broke down early and who did not maintain market hours. And, for the most part on that, we won't be able to have you back at the rodeo because it's a poor reflection on, one, your professionalism, but also on mine and David's professionalism. You have to understand that we have higher authority too. So we have people who are over the building, we have people who are over the rodeo, the committee members and the board members, and then just the employees of that whole event center that work there every single day of the year. If there's fair rodeo or not. And so when they come in, they're like, well, why is this one open? Why is that one closed? Why is this have a drape around it? Why is, this and that? It reflects poorly on us if we can't even do our job of getting exhibitors to show up, So early breakdown is not acceptable at any market, no matter where you are, no matter how bad or how slow it is, but especially an early breakdown. And leaving an event early is unacceptable, in my opinion. So I won't harp on that one too much. It is what it is. And then the breakdown process. I do owe Military Mike an apology. I know I snapped at you during breakdown, but honestly, I had just dealt with some what I would call non-compliant exhibitors who were just railing on, how everything was horrible for them and the process was stupid and the whole 9 yards, to the point that I actually had someone go out of their way to come and find me just to cuss me out before they left. So I just was not really, when you happen to walk in, it kind of goes back to timing is everything. When you came to me with your request, I had just kind of had it up to here. So I do apologize, and I need to call you personally and apologize as well. But breakdown process. Again, this is not just for the rodeo. This is for any market, but especially for our markets, for David and I's markets. So if you're coming to the shopping festival, if you're coming to a country club market, or if you plan to do a boutique pop-up in the summer, breakdown, we try to make it as painless as possible. Again, I was a vendor for 10 years, and I know my experience, 90% of the events I went to, you showed up on your own, you found your own booth space, you figured out how to get your own stuff there, you had to go find your own parking, and then when it was breakdown time, you had to figure it out, and there was nobody directing traffic or helping at all. And we take a different approach to that at Big Top. We try to direct traffic, we try to allow direct access so you can drive directly up to your booth when possible. Some venues that's not possible. And we really try our best to go above and beyond to make the move-in and the move-out process as painful and as quick as possible. But with that being said, you have to trust that there is a system, and you kind of have to just go with the flow, because again, kind of there's 2 of us and there's 100 to 200 of you at our festivals. There's 300 spaces. There's easily like 600 exhibitors there. When every person is coming up to me asking the same question, well, why can't I do this? Well, why can't I drive in? Well, why can't I stage the vehicle? Well, why is there a vehicle parked back there already and I can't park my vehicle? Well, because that's part of the controlled chaos of we, again, see the big picture where a lot of times you guys look at your booth space and not any further than that. And okay, if we can get this one and this one moved out first, right at breakdown time, that will open up the whole space. So that way we can have more dollies coming through. It'll be easier for everyone to move out. Will be quicker for us to get vehicles in. So that way we can get, you out quicker. So yes, we do talk to particular people and say, okay, you stage your vehicle. This is the plan. You're going to break down at this exact time. And this is when you're going to leave, and this and that and the other. You just have to trust the process that we're doing it for the benefit of everybody. We even want to leave as fast as we can. And we are the first ones in and the last ones out every single day. So that is before you even come to set up. We've already been on site, usually for days, doing our part of our setup. Then we're there for you to set up. Then we're there every day for market hours. We're there for you to break down. And then guess what? We still have a breakdown that we have to do. Even during market hours, kind of not to get on my soapbox, but leaving early during the weekdays, again, I don't want to get on my soapbox, but leaving early during the weekdays, you think, oh, it's not that big of a deal, but think about us. Not only are we there until market is actually closed, but then we have to close it and push customers out. And then we go through and lock all the doors to make sure that your stuff is secure. And then we do a second security check to make sure that all the doors are locked. There's nobody hiding in the bathrooms. We pushed all the people out. And then lights and utilities and things like that before we even leave the premises. So just keep that in mind be patient with breakdown. If you've already been here for 14 days, what is another 1 hour, honestly? The ones who do it right are the professionals that just take it easy, nice and slow. I even have at the shopping festivals, we have people who will just go and eat dinner. After 2 days of selling their hearts out, being outside, working their booth, they just go off-site, find a restaurant, go eat dinner, come back. In that hour and a half it takes to go off-site, eat dinner, and come back, you will be amazed of how many people have moved out, and it just makes breakdown that much less stressful. Also, breakdown. I have no authority during breakdown. I'll just be honest with you. So for future reference, if you have questions about like, can I bring my vehicle in? Can I park here? Can I do this special exception? That all goes straight to David. He is the master of all plans. He really is. One thing we've been wanting to do for years and years is just like a cocktail hour or a dinner or just something offsite, not at a show, where all of us exhibitors can get together, talk shop, have fun, get to know each other. But he used to be a large loss restoration operations manager nationwide. He flew coast to coast, and basically like when a hurricane came through and took down your downtown skyscrapers, your big hospitals, your universities with multiple buildings, he would be the guy to call. He's just amazing and brilliant at everything he does. But he's the master of all plans, so he can look at the most complicated thing and make it very simple. If you come to me during breakdown asking for a special exception, it's going to be no, because I don't know what Dave's plan is. And usually it's changing minute by minute as things are moving out, as trailers are moving out. So if you do have a special exception, I recommend you go to him, because if you come to me, it's more than likely going to be a no. So that's kind of all of my notes for this post-production call. I hope that everybody had a great time. I hope that everybody learned something. I hope everybody made a friend, made a mentor, someone that you can look up to or someone that you can help out in the industry to make everything better. If you want to write this down, 2022 dates are going to be October 6th through the 16th. So pretty much what we did this year, we were the 7th through the 17th. So the 6th through the 16th, take that online survey that's in the email, because that will give me tons of great ideas on what we can do next year. I would like to see an increase in traffic, of course, overall. But that first night that we open, that was the preview night. I would like for that to be a big bang for sales, and we do something very special that's just maybe for the market, that's not tied into the whole fair, so we can get people in who really truly do want to shop. So I'm all ears on ideas for that. Of course, also weekday nights, so Monday through Thursday, what can we do to increase traffic, because it is slower. But again, just like anywhere else, if you have a storefront, if you have a mall, I mean just a restaurant, anywhere you go, weekdays are always going to be slower than weekends. But how can we increase that? And like Dave would say, how can we bleed the turnip and squeeze out pennies, turn into cents, which turn into dollars, which turn into hundreds of dollars, and so on and so forth. So that's what we like to look at, is how can we squeeze a little bit here and a little bit there, so that overall we have like this nice big pressure and get the sales out of it. So October 6th through the 16th, we will see you at the Heart of Texas Fair and Rodeo in Waco. We're completely redoing the floor plan. Everyone who was there this year who is coming back will have first dibs. What I like to do is, once we've worked with some exhibitors, I will usually assign you in your spot, and I will say this is where you need to be. And then of course you can adjust it as needed, but that's what I like to do. So hopefully January is my goal. We'll have that floor plan ready to rock and roll and get it out to you guys for registrations. Pricing, I can't really say. I don't really know how the pricing is going to be. I believe, and I almost hate to say this because then you guys will be like, well, you said you were going to do it this way. But how we do our boutique pop-ups in the summer is premium booths are more expensive, and then filler or less desirable booths, further down the aisles or looking at walls or things like that, are less expensive. And so it gives a little bit more diversity and price points. And of course, if you want that best booth, then there is a premium for that, and display is a huge factor. So we will be doing jurying for some booth spaces. So some space you'll have to be jury approved. We have our list of who we've approved from this event. I'd be happy to share it with you guys on who we've already approved to be in those spots. And if you have a great display, then you know that you're on the jury approved list. And if you don't have a great display, or we discussed what you need to do for display, then you're not on that jury list. So I really appreciate you guys watching this long video, making it all the way to the end. Please leave your comments, please email me, social media, Instagram, Facebook, the whole 9 yards. If you have any questions whatsoever, I really am always here to help. Happy selling, guys.